So I wanted to go through a little athlete progression, share what we did with someone over a 2 year period, um, beginning in January 2019 until the end of 2020. This athlete, as you can see, he was a bit slender when we first started, about 140 pounds or so, 18 years old, so just out of juniors. Wanted to make the transition to the tour, but from my opinion, his body just wasn't ready. He wasn't able to move the way we needed him to. He was a good player, good junior, quick around the court, and had some nice abilities, but just to play at the bigger levels against players who hit big serves and move explosively, you just need a little bit more. So one thing that we did early on was just try to have a little more intent during tennis practices. So just going after serves and things like that. So a big chunk of the training was spent in the weight room. You know, uh, as you'll see in this video, we did a variety of different things: sprinting, jumping, plyometrics, med ball throws. But I found over the years that athletes who don't have necessarily the natural spring um, reactiveness, explosiveness need weight training, because this really gets the nervous system um, involved and adapted in a way that we want, as long as certain parameters are met. So we basically want to make sure that a lot of the lifting is done fast, explosive, even if it doesn't seem that way. Um, with the naked eye, the intent to move the load is always fast. So this was a big priority for us early on. Um, so that included things like squats, as you saw, bench press, basic compound lifts, and our Olympic lifts were comprised basically of snatches and cleans. And of course, we did accessory work, what I call structural strength exercises that target, things that might be more predisposed to injury because of heavy tennis volume. So, adductors is one area, for example, and just rotational items. We did a lot of bodyweight work and things of that nature. So, med ball training was obviously huge. In general, the weight training is important, but we need to make the link between weight room work and what we see on the tennis court. So there has to be some sort of explosive actions somewhere in between. So you can see plyo throws with 500-gram balls and different med ball throws. Um, you know, Trying to work on a variety of different actions and movement planes, always with high intent for these types of throws. There's also sub-max med ball throws, but in terms of gaining athleticism, gaining explosiveness, we need to perform items fast and quickly. Um, of course, we did a variety of plyometric work as well to improve, basic elastic qualities, reactive qualities, explosiveness, and and this was, a lot of it was general. So you see things like this would benefit a lot of different athletes in court and field court sports. But then there were some items that were maybe a little bit more specific. It all depended on the time of year, and the phase. This athlete was in a group where they were, also competing. So there were times when we had to lay off the physical work. You saw there some sprinting as well. That was a big part of it. But like I said, the weight training was an important piece. And this athlete gained maybe about 15 to 20 pounds over that 2 year period. He matured physically, but a lot of it was also attributed to his physical work. So being able to handle load and doing it explosively. He's still very lean. We don't gain a ton of weight doing weight training in a very specific manner. We're not training like bodybuilders. We're training for athletic performance, for athletic development. So that's something to really keep in mind. And then here you can see this was, towards the end of that 2 year period, summer, fall 2020. And you can see that the way he moves is different. He's more reactive, more explosive, able to produce more power. And this happens over time. It's a process. It doesn't happen over a 1 month or even 3 month period. It's a year, 2 years, and in some cases even longer. You just keep doing these basic items at just higher and higher levels, and then the outputs get better. So for example, like we tracked serve speed throughout this process, and we started at about 105, 106, I believe, and towards the end he was at 118, 119. So there was a big progression there, and that only happens with proper physical preparation over a lengthier time period.